Day 2 of the NAMM show. We're on the Harman booth, Soundcraft section, where Sean is going to show us the signature series of mixers which cover both live sound and studio. And of course, being a Harman product, it's got all kinds of technology in there, pillaged from some of their other companies. So please do tell us about it. It looks intriguing.
You got it, Paul. So first of all, it's very much a Soundcraft product. The idea with the signature was to get all our Soundcraft heritage in there. So we have some of our best bits from consoles over the years. We have the Ghost mic preamp. The Ghost is a really popular recording console. A lot of the guys in the UK especially know it. You have the Sapphire EQ. Sapphire was a big post-production desk in the early 90s. Massive desk. It was very expensive, but we were able to get the EQ from that, which had some really magical properties to it. So it's an asymmetric EQ. That means that on the mid-bands, when you boost, it's a wide Q. When you cut, it's a narrow Q. Exactly what you want for live sound and for mixing and stuff like that, and it's very musical sounding. The low frequency shelf as well, when you boost, it cleans up some of the low end, kind of like a Pultec EQ would do, so it's a really lovely sounding EQ, very usable, very musical. Then we have, the GB series layout and aux configuration, the subgroup routing, stuff like that, and there's this total of 6 models in the range. You have the Signature 10, 12, 16, and 22, and then the Signature multi-track, 12 and 22. I'll talk about the multi-tracks in a bit. The live versions, they have 2-in, 2-out USB interfaces. They come with a free download of Ableton Live Lite. The 16 and the 22 have 100 mil faders. These sound great, they're very good feel, very long-lasting faders. And you have the 4-band EQ on the 16 and the 22s. On the smaller ones, you have 3-band EQ and you have 60 mil faders. So then on the multi-tracks, this is really cool. On the Signature 12 multi-track, we have a 14-in, 12-out USB interface. On the Signature 22 multi-track, you have a 24-in, 22-out USB interface. So the way this works is all the inputs send down to the USB. You can, multi-track a live performance, use plugins, either in live or in the studio. Do all your stuff with your tracks in the studio, and then you can bring them back in on the channel with the USB return button. So then it comes that USB send channel comes back in on that input channel. So there's a lot of possible uses for this. Of course, it's great for recording. You have the lovely Ghost mic pre go into your DAW. Also analog synth guys, you can bring your analog synths in, combine your DAW, your Ableton or your Reason playback back into the desk, mix it all in analog, and then you can send it back into your DAW analog summed. There's 22 decibels of headroom on this console, so it sounds fantastic. Run into the red, it sounds great, and then bring it back in your DAW, you get the best bits of analog and digital.
And both the live and the multi-track ones have got the same dynamics and effects sections?
That's exactly right, Paul. Yeah, so you mentioned it before, the Harman brand. So we have Lexicon effects on all the models. On the 22 and the 22 multi-track, you have 2 effects engines. So that's a lot of power there. And then you have DBX limiters on the input channels as well. So the 22, for instance, has 8 DBX limiters, the 16 has 4, the 12 and the 10 have 2. They sound great, fixed time constants, fixed threshold, fixed ratio. It's like an LA2 kind of. You just run the input gain into it and then slam it hard. The harder it works, the better it sounds. Tames transient, sounds great on drums, vocals, really anything. And the best part of all these is the price. So the multi-tracks are really amazing. The 12 multi-track is $399 US MAP. So that's for a 14 and 12 out USB interface and mixer, it's pretty amazing. And then the Signature 22 multi-track is $799 for a 24-in, 22-out USB interface and mixer. And then the live ones, the smallest one, the 10 is $279, the 12 is $329, the 16 is $549 with the 100 mil faders, 4-band EQ, and then the 22 is $699 with the dual effects engines as well. One last thing, Paul, you talked about the Harman brands, you get a free Lexicon MPXL native reverb plugin on the multi-tracks as well.
That's certainly worth having, yeah.
Thanks,
Sean. So when are these shipping? That's the only last question.
So they're on the water in February, should be in stores by March.
Can't say fairer than that, thank you.
That's great.